So, Ryan, you could probably give us a better kind of overall perspectives. I know you've been grinding on Sports Wars over there with everything that the NBA is trying to implement and trying to force their players to do this. And Kyrie, a weird guy by a lot of people's estimation, which generally just means he thinks for himself. But Kyrie has some weird opinions from time to time, and I respect that about him. I respect that he's his own person, but kind of give us like an overview of that. But I think the bigger implications is Kyrie is kind of doing what Chappelle does in his own way, just standing up against the bullshit.
Yeah, so Kyrie Irving plays for the Brooklyn Nets, and the NBA is trying to encourage everybody to get the jab, every single person. However, the NBA is not specifically mandating it for the players. There are certain cities in certain states, however, that are. For instance, the Golden State Warriors, who play in Oakland, in the Bay Area there. In order to fulfill the requirements of their certain city, they need to be vaccinated in order to play there. Now, visiting teams don't have to because that's not where they're based at. So like a team from Chicago could come and play in Oakland. They don't need to be vaxxed. But specifically the Warriors and also the New York teams, including Brooklyn, need to be vaccinated. And Kyrie Irving has said, listen, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get the jab. And he's already would have to miss their 41 home games if he didn't do that. He would not be eligible to participate. Well, now the Brooklyn Nets, in order to provide even more pressure than he already has with the entire mainstream media on his back, them trying to force him and peer pressure him into doing this, now the Brooklyn Nets have come out and said, listen, we respect Kyrie Irving's right to choose. No, you don't, because what you're about to do is provide a lot of pressure to make him choose. But he's not allowed to be with the team. He's not allowed to practice. He's not allowed to do road games. He's not allowed to do anything until he's eligible to fully participate, which means until he gets the vaccine. So that's where we're at with the Kyrie Irving saga right now. We've seen a couple other players speak out and eventually kind of bend the knee, like Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins sounded like he was embarrassed and upset that he made this decision, but he made the decision because he felt like his teammates were counting on him, like so many fans were counting on him. So he did something he didn't want to do. Kyrie Irving ain't going to bend the knee like that. Kyrie Irving is already a weird cat.
That's why I said to that point, like when this thing first broke out, and there was some grumblings. I believe like ESPN was the first one to cover, and he said that Kyrie was like leading this coalition of players that were not vaccinated. I said if there's one person in the NBA that I would bet on, he'd be like on some shit like I don't want to play. I don't need this shit. It's fucking Kyrie. Just because he has had no problem putting all his out there thoughts on some other weird shit. He doesn't
fucking flat earth.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a shit. Like that's just who he is, who he is. And I can respect that from him. And like you're mentioning, you're talking about 35 racks on the line, and he's like, all right, it's this game of chicken right now. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people aren't gonna like those comparisons, but Kyrie is who a lot of going back in 2020, a lot of those basketball players thought that they were the ones that were kneeling and all of that sort of stuff. Look at us, we're doing something to try to make a stand and make a statement. Kyrie is doing, because that was convenient, right? Everybody was already on board. You didn't do anything. There was no sacrifice being made there. The league catered to everything that it is that you fucking wanted. They put the goddamn shit on your jerseys. Like it was terrible. Kyrie is who they think they are, because Kyrie is actually putting his money on the line right now as it stands as we're shooting this. And he has said, no, I'm not going to do it. Jonathan Isaac is another one. That said simply they don't want to do it. I don't know. I can't remember if Kyrie's got it. Jonathan Isaac has actually caught it. So he has the immunity and everything in that regards. And they're like, no. Now, of course, Jonathan Isaac being in Orlando, it's a little different in terms of his situation. But with that being a stark, is for people that don't watch sports, Kyrie isn't just some regular, just a bench warmer or someone 12th man on the roster. No. This guy is like, a perennial all-star, going to be in the Hall of Fame. Probably, I would argue, and yes, better than, I know this is a sports wars talk, we could probably have this, best ball handler that I've ever fucking seen, you know what I mean, in terms of a guy that can just handle the fucking rock. This is a superstar it is that we're talking about that's doing it, and that's why it's a big deal. And I would have loved to see not only his Brooklyn Nets teammates, but all of these players who care so much about, it's a fraternity, right? It's about us. Would they it doesn't matter because it's not vaccinated versus unvaccinated anyway. It's about this individual having sort of this right to do or inject whatever it is that he wants, rather into his body or not. It's not even actually injecting. It's like he just doesn't want to simply do that. Like, are they going to go to bat for him? Probably not. But they would be more ballsy than I saw colleague Whitlock talking about that the Southwest Airlines employees have more balls basically than what the NBA did. Because if NBA had those guys, if those were his co-workers, this shit wouldn't even be a problem because they would have stamped his league out, and the league would have had to adjust to whatever it is that they wanted them to do.
Well, I want to make this point, and I just saw this tweet earlier. I wasn't aware of some of this, but what this goes to show you is what Kyrie Irving is going through right now. Okay, superstar, champion, great basketball player.
The reason LeBron James won a ring in Cleveland, just so
pretty much, yes, absolutely. And so what he's going through right now just shows you that it doesn't matter what you do when it lines up with the narrative. It doesn't matter. The one time you do something wrong, they'll come after you. So check this out right here. Kyrie is extremely generous. Bought George Floyd's mom a house, paid tuition for 9 students, bought 200 kids Christmas presents, provided $250K Thanksgiving meals in NYC, donated 1.5 to the WNBA. The WNBA's never made that much fucking money.
And made that money
fucking waste.
Funded them motherfuckers for 20 fucking years. Did all this shit that these motherfuckers claim they care about, yet he makes one decision for himself.
This is sad,
and
man.
look what they're doing to him. Because this is why I continue to tell people the pandering, the bullshit, it will never fucking matter. Because you are one bad decision in their eyes from being destroyed. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how much you pander. And I'm not saying Kyrie's pandering, because Kyrie is a very, very, he's a self-made man. Like, he is not that dude. If Kyrie comes out tomorrow and he's like, fuck Donald Trump and all this stuff, and be like, that's Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's who he is.
Yeah. LeBron says it, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because he's not an individual person, and he's proven that time and time again. Kyrie is his own person. He's his own man. But this just proves right here, So, Robert, I know you're a big sports fan. Of Sports Wars fame. I'm glad that channel was able to elevate your career as much as it has, clearly. But no, what do you think about this whole Kyrie thing?
What I find fascinating is they're calling a guy selfish who's willing to walk away from $35 million on principle. And my guess with Irving, a big reason for this is not what he himself thinks. It's what he knows a lot of other people think, and they want people to make a stand. Because that's like, here you see somebody, he could have just grandstanded on the Floyd case, like almost all of other NBA players did, like almost all the other NFL players did. He actually went out and did something constructive and positive and tried to make an improvement in the family's life, right? I mean, that's action, constructive action. And what it's extraordinary, like you had Oberman go on that rant about how Oberman's the selfish prick. I mean, he's a nut job too, but the selfishness is these virtue signaling Kirk Herbstreit wannabes wanting to grandstand so that the world can praise them. And rather than take any risk in challenging an institutional narrative, walking away from a job, walking away from money, walking away from status, which is what Dave Chappelle is doing, which is what Kyrie Irving is doing. That is the opposite of selfish and self-centered. And it's a case of confession through projection. All these people who are praising the mandate, who are people who they're the selfish ones. They want to demand to invade other people's bodies and to own their bodies effectively, because that's what that legal effect of that is, for their self-aggrandizement and to be praised in popular society. They're the selfish people, and they're projecting it on the people who are being the least selfish.
Yep.
Projection is such a massive problem these days, and it's just what I continue to like. Usually when, and again, not every single time, but generally speaking, if someone is constantly accusing other people of something, it usually means that they have something to hide. So when you hear people say, well, you're being selfish, Kyrie, because why? By making an individual decision for yourself. How is that selfish? These are the people that are saying that are the people that are saying that you have to wear a mask.
Yeah,
and you have to do this. So it's like it's projection. So it's like, again, the people that are constantly calling everybody a racist or a sexist, generally are the ones that are that. But I stand with Kyrie Irving. I think this is going to be interesting. So, I mean, like, Where's LeBron at on this whole thing? Because he can't keep his fucking mouth shut on everything.
He came out and he said that one bit where he was like, they were damn reporters who are nothing but activists was like, well, you being basically the face of the league, you shouldn't you be basically pimping out this jab? And he was like, no, that's not what I made a decision for me, and I gave him props for it. Yeah, it hurt everything in me to do that because it's LeBron James, but I did it. I was like, oh well, yeah, but that's what it is. But when we talk, if LeBron James was like, of all people, was like, this shit sucks, we're not going through this, the league would change like that because he basically owns the entire fucking league. And this is why I was saying, like, I would love to see as this carries on, especially his teammates, but not just these guys that treat it like they're all about the player. This is such a pro player league, and they care about so much about their brothers. Are they willing to go to bat? Because again, this isn't about the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated. This is y'all wanting to force this man to do something or inject something in his body that he does not want to, and that's ultimately all this is. I would think as a free human being, you would support that individual's right, certainly to do that, or you think there was something wrong with, let's say, that being sort of required of him. I would love to see them go to bat. They're frauds. A bunch of them are fucking frauds. They take the easiest position, which was 2020 summer. Everybody's a fucking activist. Everybody's pro-black. Everybody's got their fists in the air. Everybody's kneeling and all of this shit. You got crying Kyle Korver writing fucking dumb shit articles about how sorry he is being white and all goofy shit like that. That's easy, right? Like Rob was saying, there's no sacrifice involved in that. Everybody's already doing it. You're being basically paraded around by your colleagues. That's basically all that is. Kyrie is who they actually thought it was that they were. And if they had any of a nutsack, including LeBron, they would go to bat for him. And actually, if they had to, shut the fucking league down, because it ain't just Kyrie, to be fair. He's just probably the most prominent one, but they shut the fucking league down until this shit got straightened up. But they ain't got the nuts to do that shit.
Well, and I would give LeBron props. I would give him props. Unfortunately, LeBron's a bitch-made motherfucker who basically claim, I got to stand up. I got to say something for injustices anywhere and everywhere. I won't shut up and
the ones in his own league.
Except for China, except when it's fucking convenient, except for right now with Kyrie. So, the person you got to give credit to is Draymond Green. Draymond Green came and spoke out for Andrew Wiggins, by saying, this is not our problem. It's not our business. Why is it this way? It used to not be people's business who you voted for, what you were putting in your body, all of this nonsense, but it has been politicized that way. So fuck LeBron James.
Well, I'll bring it back to, go ahead.
That's all right. I just want to say about these guys, say what you will about what these people that are complaining about them, or rather they want to attack them. But if you actually listen to when they were making their statements on why they're not doing it, they're not just going along and like being anti anything. They're well informed. It's a logical explanation as to why, and it makes sense. And it's I agree with everything that they say. It's part of the reason why I have my stance on the whole thing. And they break it down perfectly. It's like they don't want people to even listen to these guys because they're making logical statements.
They don't
as
even,
to
Adam,
why.
they don't even understand the arguments. They're that stupid. Like
exactly.
Skip and Shannon, like I see them talk. I know they're in LA where all the fucking crazy people live. But I hear them talk about this shit, and it's like these guys have never actually had a conversation with someone that's antithetical to them. So they demean and they disrespect. Stephen A. Smith has been going on all these rants about Kyrie, and I'm like, Stephen A., you don't know what the fuck you're talking. Have you ever actually bothered to listen to someone to the contrary? And you think about it, like definitely over there at Fox, Jason Whitlock isn't over there anymore. Will Kane isn't over at ESPN. He's on Fox News now doing this thing. They don't have any. It's an echo chamber. They don't have anybody over there that can actually even show them the rational position, which is very rational. You speaking to basically Jonathan Isaac, who broke it down. Like, okay, I got it. I recovered from it. It makes no sense. I have natural, like, why would I need to get this considering my age group, considering my health demographic? I might be even increasing my risk and other things, myocarditis and other. Those are rational positions that a lot of us, including myself, have. But those are absolutely rational positions that they haven't even heard, because they're sitting there surrounded by a bunch of brainlets just like themselves. They haven't even heard. And when you hear them talk, like You motherfuckers have never talked to anybody that disagrees with you rather on the subject matter. Have you just got your marching orders from the talking heads, and you're just repeating everything it was that they said?
Bring it back to Chappelle. It's the same thing. He called it out. I mean, you could have just taken that and inserted, a different
anything.
Exactly, anything, and it would have made sense. These people just, is this what we're saying now? Blah, we're saying this now, and okay, now we're changing, we're flip-flopping. Okay, we're flip-flopping now. It's like you never know with these people.
100%.